Beginning in the 12th century, several Islamic states were established in the Indian subcontinent in the course of a gradual Muslim conquest in the Indian subcontinent. This process culminated in the Mughal Empire, which ruled most of India during the mid-16th to mid-19th centuries. The Islamic rule gradually declined due to dominance of Maratha rule and several other rebellions. The eventual end of the period of Islamic rule of India is marked by the two main events: Indian Rebellion of 1857 and the beginning of British rule. Although Islamic rule persisted in Hyderabad state and other minor princely states until Union of India in 1948. However, most Islamic rule had started to wane in the 17th and 18th century. Before that, Delhi Sultanate. During the last quarter of the 12th century, Muhammad of Ghor invaded the Indo-Gangetic plain, conquering in succession Ghazni, Multan, Sindh, Lahore, and Delhi. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, one of his generals, proclaimed himself Sultan of Delhi. In the 13th century, Shamsuddin Iltutmish, a former slave warrior, established a Turkic kingdom in Delhi, which enabled future sultans to push in every direction. Within the next 100 years, the Delhi Sultanate extended its way east to Bengal and south to the Deccan, while the Sultanate itself experienced repeated threats from the northwest and internal revolts from displeased, independent-minded nobles. The Sultanate was in constant flux. His 5 dynasties, all of either Turkic or Afghan origin, rose and fell. The Slave dynasty, Khalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, and Lodi dynasty. The Khilji dynasty, under Alaeddin, succeeded in bringing most of South India under its control for a time. Although conquered areas broke away quickly, power in Delhi was often gained by violence. 19 of the 35 sultans were assassinated, and was legitimized by reward for tribal loyalty. Factional rivalries and court intrigues were as numerous as they were treacherous. Territories controlled by the sultan expanded and shrank depending on his personality and fortunes. CME. Both the Quran and Sharia provided the basis for enforcing Islamic administration over the independent Hindu rulers. But the Sultanate made only fitful progress in the beginning, when many campaigns were undertaken for plunder and temporary reduction of fortresses. The effective rule of a sultan depended largely on his ability to control the strategic places that dominated the military highways and trade routes, extract the annual land tax, and maintain personal authority over military and provincial governors. Sultan Alauddin made an attempt to reassess, systematize, and unify land revenues and urban taxes, and to institute a highly centralized system of administration over his realm, but his efforts were abortive. Although agriculture in North India improved as a result of new canal construction and irrigation methods, including what came to be known as the Persian wheel, prolonged political instability and parasitic methods of tax collection brutalized the peasantry. Yet trade in a market economy, encouraged by the free spending habits of the aristocracy, acquired new impetus both in and overseas. Experts in metalwork, stonework, and textile manufacture responded to the new patronage with enthusiasm. In this period, Persian language and many Persian cultural aspects became dominant in the centers of power in Merike. As the rulers of the Delhi Sultanate patronized aspects of the foreign culture and language from their seat of power in India, southern dynasties, the Sultan's failure to hold securely the Deccan and South India resulted in the rise of competing southern dynasties, the Muslim Bahmani Sultanate and the Hindu Vijayanagara Empire. Zafar Khan, a former provincial governor under the Tughlaqs, revolted against his Turkic overlord and proclaimed himself Sultan, taking the title Alauddin Bahman Shah in 1347. The Bahmani Sultanate, located in the northern Deccan, lasted for almost 2 centuries, until it fragmented into 5 smaller states, known as the Deccan Sultanates in 1527. The Bahmani Sultanate adopted the patterns established by the Delhi overlords in tax collection and administration, but its downfall was caused in large measure by the competition and hatred between Deccani and Paradesi. The Bahmani Sultanate initiated a process of cultural synthesis visible in Hyderabad, where cultural flowering is still expressed in vigorous schools of Deccani architecture and painting. Founded in 1336, the Vijayanagara Empire, city of victory, in present-day Karnataka, expanded rapidly toward Madurai in the south and Goa in the west and exerted intermittent control over the east coast and the extreme southwest. Vijayanagara rulers closely followed Chola precedents, especially in collecting agricultural and trade revenues, in giving encouragement to commercial guilds, and in honoring temples with lavish endowments. Added revenue needed for waging war against the Bahmani sultans was raised by introducing a set of taxes on commercial enterprises, professions, and industries. Political rivalry between the Bahmani and the Vijayanagara rulers involved control over the Krishna-Tungabhadra river basin, which shifted hands depending on whose military was superior at any given time. The Vijayanagara rulers' capacity for gaining victory over their enemies was contingent on ensuring a constant supply of horses, initially through Arab traders but later through the Portuguese, and maintaining internal roads and communication networks. Merchant guilds enjoyed a wide sphere of operation and were able to offset the power of landlords and Brahmins in court politics. Commerce and shipping eventually passed largely into the hands of foreigners, and special facilities and tax concessions were provided for them by the ruler. The city of Vijayanagara itself contained numerous temples with rich ornamentation, especially the gateways, and a cluster of shrines for the deities. Most prominent among the temples was the one dedicated to Virupaksha. Disambiguation needed, a manifestation of Shiva, the patron deity of the Vijayanagara rulers. Temples continued to be the nuclei of diverse cultural and intellectual activities, but these activities were based more on tradition and on contemporary political realities. When the rulers of the 5 Deccan Sultanates combined their forces and attacked Vijayanagara in 1565, the empire crumbled at the Battle of Talikot. Most Muslim rulers of South India were Shia Muslims. Mughal era. The Mughal Empire was an empire that at its greatest territorial extent ruled most of the Indian subcontinent between 1526 and 1707. The empire was founded by the Turco-Mongol leader Babur in 1526, when he defeated Ibrahim Lodi, the last Pashtun king of the Delhi Sultans at the First Battle of Panipat. The word Mughal is the Persian version of Mongol. Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb were prominent rulers of Mughal Empire. Aurangzeb spent the last 25 or so years in a small area of present-day Arunachal Pradesh to spread Islam using military means as well as with the help of missionaries. Hyderabad Nizam. Nizam, a shortened version of Nizam-ul-Mulk meaning administrator of the realm, was the title of the native sovereigns of Hyderabad state, India, since 1719, belonging to the Asaf Jah dynasty. The dynasty was founded by Mir Kamaluddin Siddiqui, a viceroy of the Deccan under the Mughal emperors from 1713 to 1721 who intermittently ruled under the title Asaf Jah in 1924. After Aurangzeb's death in 1707, the Mughal Empire crumbled, and the viceroy in Hyderabad, the young Asaf Jah, declared himself independent. Other Islamic rulers, Nawab ruled parts of current-day Uttar Pradesh. Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan briefly held power in Mysore Kingdom. Many princely states other than Hyderabad had Muslim rulers. Literature. Majumdar. C. The History and Culture of the Indian People. Volume 6. The Delhi Sultanate. Bombay, 1960. Volume 7. The Mughal Empire. Bombay, 1973. Eliot, Sir H. M. Edited by Dowson, John. The History of India, as told by its own historians. The Mohammedan Period, published by London Trubner Company 1867 to 1877.